Okay, so this one is asking us to use the quadratic formula to solve and then to round our answer to 3 decimal places. So probably the hardest part of this one is getting it put in the calculator right and get everything just not mashing a number. So let me get it written out so you can see what we're doing. So we're going to have x equals negative 152 plus or, oh, actually, you know what? Let's not quite do that. I just noticed that has a negative in front, and it ends up making the signs harder if that value is negative. So you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I am going to multiply everything by -1 on both sides because I don't like having that negative in the denominator. I think it makes it look more complicated than it has to. So if I do a negative on both sides, I'm going to have 5.4x squared minus 152x minus 1676 equals 0. So chunking that into the quadratic formula, we'll have x equals the negative of negative 152 would just be 152 plus or minus the square root of negative 152 squared. I'll figure out that in a second. Minus 4 times a is 4.5 times c is negative 1676. All over 2a, and now I have 2 times 4.5, so that's 9, and then I don't have that negative down there that I have to like, and then this is negative if I do it the other way, which just gives me kind of 2 extra signs to mess up. So for me, I prefer to clear that negative out of the leading term. I'm going to grab out the calculator and toss all this stuff in and see what I get. So that would be 152 squared, and it'll be a positive, right, because negative times negative would make positive. And then there's another double negative, so this is going to be plus. And then 4 times 4.5, probably could just type 9 there, times 1676. And when I do that, here's what I got. X equals 152 plus or minus 53,000. That's a 3. 272 over 9. And then based on those directions, it does not sound like this will work out well for me. So what I'm going to do in the calculator is x equals 152 plus the root of that number. And then I'll hit equals, and then I'll divide it by 9, and that will give me my first value. So 152, and then plus square root of my answer. And then I'm hitting equals because I want to total this up before I do the division. Otherwise, I'm not dividing that 152. So I just made all of that a number. And if you did it right, you should be seeing a 382.8 blah, blah, blah on the calculator. And now I'll divide that by 9. And I'll do my rounding on the very last step. So that gives me 42.534 to 3 decimal places. And then I'll come back and I'm going to do the negative version. So this would be 152 minus negative of that crappy number right there, or minus that number, sorry, over 9. Sorry, I have a cold, so there may be a sneeze here in half a second. Don't look up. Okay, so let's see if I get this before I sneeze. 152 minus square root 53, 272. And when I do that, up here in the numerator, I get negative 78.807, blah, blah, blah. That's still over 9, so that'll do the divide by 9. And that gets me x equals negative 8.756. Cool. Hopefully that's helpful.